Hello, in this tutorial we're going to continue on and dive into conditionals. So a conditional expression follows this pattern of if and then some Boolean conditional expression here. Then I want to do this code. Otherwise, if that's not true, then I want to do this second region of code. So we just need to fill in the blanks. So for example, let's imagine that we wanted to ask the user what is their age, and then respond whether or not they were allowed to drive. So we're going to say write what is your age, and then int age is going to be equal to console readline. But remember, since we're reading in an integer, we need to do our int32 parse. And so I'm combining quite a few things here on this one line. You can see I'm declaring a new variable called age, and then I'm reading in from the user whatever they type in and then converting that into an integer. So I could say if age is greater than or equal to 16, then I can say console writeline you can drive. Otherwise, I might say console writeline you cannot drive. Okay, so if we run this, it's going to ask us what is the age, and if we say that we're 13, then it says we cannot drive, because what happened was age was assigned 13, and 13 is not greater than or equal to 16, so that fails, and so we come down to the else part and we do whatever code is here. Let's run this again, and if we type in that we are 24, then it reports that we can drive, because 24 is indeed greater than or equal to 16, so this becomes true, and we're going to run whatever the code is there in that if statement. Notice that we can do multiple lines of code here because I'm using my curly brackets to denote the code block. So I can say console writeline, good for you, and it will do both of these commands if the age is at least 16. Okay, so let's run this. And if I say that I'm 24, then it does both of those. Good, you can drive, and good for you. Okay. So a couple of things I could do here. I could use my less than, I could use my greater than, I could use my less than equal to, I could do greater than or equal to, or not equal to. So if you typed in something other than 16, it's going to say that you can't drive. So that not equal to, or the double equal means is this a match on the left and the right. Okay, so we've got all kinds of different options there. So let's imagine also that I want to know whether they can drink. So if the age is greater than or equal to 21, then we can say console writeline you can drink. Okay, notice that I'm not using my curly brackets, and the else clause is optional, so I don't have to put that at all. I can just say run this line of code if this Boolean expression is true. Okay, so let's run this, and let's say that our age is 18. Then we can drive, and that's all we're going to get. But if I run this, and I say that I am 24, or some value greater than or equal to 21, then it says I can drive and I can also drink, but perhaps we need to put a warning in here that you should not drink and drive. So we can say, but of course, do not drink, drive, and drink, or whatever you'd like to say there. Okay, so again, we can use our curly brackets and mark the fact that I want to do multiple commands here. If I left this off, even if I did the indentation, well, let's actually run it as it was. Okay, so you can see this. So what's my age? And if I say that I'm 24, then we get the you can drive and good for you, and you can drink, but of course do not drink and drive. Okay, now if I left off the curly brackets here, syntactically this is correct, and it will run just fine. But notice what's going to happen. Let's imagine that even if I am not 21, then it still says, but of course you cannot drink and drive, because what's happening is it's doing this first part up here, and then it's getting to the if statement, And in the case where I am 16, the age is not greater than or equal to 21, so it skips the next line, which is all that's associated with this if, but it still runs this. Even if the line is indented, that doesn't mean that syntactically it is associated with that if. So if I wanted to do more than one thing, I need to use my curly brackets, otherwise it's only going to do the next thing below the if. Okay? So this is actually the correct indentation. Okay, so let's imagine that I'm only allowed to drive if I'm at least 16, but I am not greater than 90. Okay, so I can combine these things into more complex statements using my parentheses. I can use my double ampersand for and my age is also less than 90. So now I'm saying that you have to be at least 16 and you have to be less than 90, and then you can drive. So let's run this. And let's imagine that I am 57. Then I can drive. Let's run it again. Oops. Let's run this again. And let's imagine now that I am 95. Then it says that I cannot drive. But at least I can drink because I'm older than 21, right? Okay, so you see we can combine individual Boolean expressions such as age greater than or equal to 16 using my Boolean and, in which case both sides have to be true in order for the whole thing to be true. I could also use or, which is my double pipe symbol, usually found above the enter or return key, and this is or, meaning one of these things has to be the same, one or both. Okay, logically that's not really what I want, so I want my and we'll leave it at that there. So I can combine these in any number of ways, and I can use parentheses to do grouping. As long as this entire expression results in true, then I'm going to do whatever is associated with the if, and if that becomes false, then I'll do whatever here is in the else. In the case where I don't have an else, I just skip on down and don't do what's in the if it's false, and just continue on in my program.